Hey guys, I'm Linda from iCore Connect, and we're so excited to have you here.
I'm Laura from Mango Voice and Front Office Rocks, and I'm excited to be here and have you guys joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just wanted to take a second and introduce ourselves. So I have been in dentistry for 28 years. I get my numbers all mixed up. I think I say 28, 29, but I've been in the dentistry a really long time. I've worked in private and group practice. I've managed all kinds of practices. Recently, I owned my company, which was called Zeroed In Dental Solutions, and we were an outsourced billing company for full RCM services. Since then, I've now joined the ranks with iCore Connect, and I'm super excited about that. And I'm their director of sales because it just aligns so much with my mission. Yeah,
Awesome.
Laura. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. I stopped counting at 20, how long I've been in dentistry, but I was married to a dentist a long time ago, went through dental school with him as the dental spouse, opened 2 scratch practices, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, and 15-ish years ago, started a company called Front Office Rocks, which is still around. We do dental front office team training. So I teach everything from customer service and systems, everything with the front of the dental office. And then most recently started talking more about AI because I'm all about technology, which we'll talk about in this podcast, and took a role as VP of AI for Mango Voice. So both Linda and I are newer in our roles, yet still around. And the reason that we're both here is because we speak the voice of the team. We understand what the team goes through. And there's all these amazing companies coming into our industry or have been in our industry like Mango and iCore. But we also need to make sure that these companies and all the people we talk to are relating to you, the team member, the dentist, the office manager that's listening to this podcast.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things that I think hit me so hard is, Laura, I know you know my story, and I lost a doctor to suicide, and I don't throw that around lightly, but it does explain why I'm kind of on this movement. I'm on a mission really to be able to get the word out to practices, to doctors, and to office managers, and the people that are in the trenches working the office every single day. And I know sometimes it's hard because you have your head down and you're working, you're just doing the work that's there in the office. And it's hard to sometimes know some of the things that are happening out there all around you, like what's happening in legislature, or what's happening with the big people that make the decisions. And so we're here to bring that news to you, to unravel that mystery and try to direct you in ways that we can bring good information to you. So we're excited to have you here.
I'm going to add to that too. So one of the reasons I think it's ironic that I'm on this podcast, doing this podcast with you and calling it the Revenue Cycle Roundtable and talking with insurance people a lot, because that's not my forte. I'm not an insurance person. I'm customer service and systems, which I'll blend that into like, how do we do this with the patients? But the other thing is that one thing I've seen happen, and I haven't really even talked to you about this, one thing I've seen happen over the last 10, 15 years is that we used to run like a dental office, right? We were like, there was the front desk, the office manager, the dentist, and we ran like a dental office. And in the last 10, 15 years, we've seen a lot of business and corporate come into our industry, a lot of DSOs, a lot of group practices. Whether you're in a group practice or not, it doesn't matter. But what has happened during that time frame is we've brought business into dental. And so there's terms like revenue cycle management, which I remember the first time somebody asked me, do you teach revenue cycle management? And I was like, of course I do. And then I ran to my room and looked up what is revenue cycle management, right? And I do teach revenue cycle management because it's all the things we already do. We just put a fancy name behind it. So there is a time now where there's business and dental coming together. And the business people, I believe, are realizing they can't do it without the dental people. But the dental people need to step up to the business. Like, we've been taught so much. We have so much opportunity to learn, and we can't just go, I don't know anymore. There is a responsibility to know the latest legislation. There is a responsibility to know the numbers of your practice and not just print the reports the way we've always done it, to actually lean into technology. So it's ironic that, you and I, who've been doing this so long, are talking about the latest and greatest, but also we want everybody in our dental world to come along with us.
I appreciate so much that you said that, because the reality is I remember those days, right? I remember when I first started in dentistry and I just worked at the desk and I did what people told me to do. And I didn't know to ask questions, right? It wasn't until I started to get further into my career that I realized I don't know everything. Like I didn't invent the wheel, right? Like dentistry is out there and the landscape is changing so quickly, so rapidly. General dentists are doing things that years ago they never did, right? Like school, just even education is completely changing. But if you're in an office and you're working and you're not questioning something, if you're not questioning why, like why
Mhm.
is that? That's a big thing that you need to start doing from this point forward. Because in 2026, holy cow, a lot changed in 2026.
Yeah, and you brought up a good thing. So there's not only changes that are going on in our industry, which faster than we can keep up. I'm the VP of AI. And so what that means is every day I'm trying to keep up with the latest on technology and where we're going in the industry. But also, one thing we're hoping to challenge you when you listen to our podcast is what you just talked about, Linda, about having growth mindset, being
Mm-hmm.
open minded, because our industry, our dental people in our industry have had a tendency to go, this is the way we've always done it. This is what, Susie taught me, and this is how we do it. We have dentists who I'm challenging you. If you're like this, the way we've always done it, we can't just do it that way anymore. But if you think you know it all already, you can't learn anything. So growth mindset is literally opening up your mind. The one thing, Linda, I will say, I'm so excited to do this with you. I'm a storyteller and you're really good at giving analogies and examples. And I don't want to make this, but we want to dumb this down. We
Mm-hmm.
want to really make this bite-sized information of why you should care and why it
Mm-hmm.
matters. Because if you have the mindset of nothing's changing in my practice, you probably won't be here very long or won't be happy. And we don't want that. Like you said, we really want everyone to flourish in their career.
Yeah. And what's exciting about what we're going to be doing, and I think it's important to mention, is that we're going to bring really key opinion leaders. We're going to bring industry leaders on this podcast that are going to be able to talk about the things that are in their neck of the woods that they absolutely specialize in, right? And they're going to bring you information that it's top of the table. It's things that are hot off the presses. It's things that's new just to give you advanced warning of things. But I
Mhm.
will say that there are some basics that I'm going to do one right now, Laura. So,
All right.
so, basic things that we do, like one of the most fundamental things you do in a dental practice is you talk to people and you gather their information, right? And you think about that, talking to people and gathering their information. Who would have ever thunk? I would have never thought it all the years ago when I started in dentistry, how absolutely critical that very part of the process is. Talking to the patient and getting the right information. That talking to the patient is the number one thing that most people don't do correctly. The
Mhm.
number one thing. And it sets every single other system up to succeed or fail. Just gathering the right information. So we'll dig into that a lot deeper, but I want to think about this. So this is the story that I would say. So who likes to go on a road trip? Laura, do you like to go on road trips?
I love it. I'm actually on a road trip right now, so I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I love road trips too. And if you think about going on a road trip, what do you need to put in your car to have a successful road trip or your travel leisure vehicle?
I know, right? Besides food, I'm going to say gas.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Food or gas, but for sure gas. And when you put the gas in the vehicle, you don't put it where the antifreeze goes. You
Uh-huh.
don't put it where the oil goes. You put it where the gas goes in your vehicle so that your vehicle is going to run reliably for you. It's the same thing with an insurance verification, right? If you're gathering that right information and you're researching that information, it's not a good enough to just throw it in your inner document center, right? It's not good enough to just throw it in your imaging. You have to put it in all of the beautiful fields that your technology provides for you. So more and more dental software is changing like crazy, right?
Uh-huh.
There's so many dental softwares out there and they're so smart. They can do all kinds of things. So if you give them the information in the spots where it goes, it's limitless, the information that our new technology can do for you. First of all, your system, but then the partnering technology. So I can see you going, Laura. So tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about some of that innovation, that technology.
Well, I'm going to go back first to what you said about the basics. So one of the things that I've always taught was the three most important things that we do in the front desk of a dental office is the phones, the insurance, and the schedule. And even to this day, I mean, that's never changed, right? Like you have to answer your phones. You need to put the insurance in correctly, like you're talking about from the start, because that's our relationship with our patients as we move forward. And then we need to schedule because the schedule runs the practice. And so those have never changed. But the one thing I will say that has changed is that our new hires, our employees, I would say are getting not as much training as they should.
Mm-hmm.
And they're less good at communication, having hard discussions, having these conversations. And so training is more important than ever with our team members. And then with the technology, using the technology to help them get better, which is why you were saying I was starting to light up because I'm all about technology, but it blends with the humans. Like if the humans aren't using the technology correctly, if you're not working with the right technology, if you don't have the right humans on your team, our patients don't know if you're a good dentist or not. They know how they feel in the practice. And that's all about having the right systems and people in your practice doing the right things. And we're hoping to not only spotlight this for dentists and office managers, but team members. Like, come listen to this, ask questions, because we would love to be the resource to help direct your practice in the way that needs some help.
That's exactly right. And I love that you mentioned all of that. And really, I want to kind of give a little bit of props to iCore for a second. So iCore, really, one of the things that was such a big deal to me with my billing company, because what happened to me was very much what a lot of our listeners are going to feel. I had moved to a new area. I had started a job at a dental office, and they told me I was in charge of insurance, and I did a double take. I thought, oh, really? Like I'd been in dentistry for a really long time. I knew a lot about insurance. I could explain treatment plans. I could send the claims, no problem, with the right information, but I didn't know some rules about sending the claims. And I didn't know a lot of the rules about posting the payments. And who would think that that's really that hard of a job? But it really is. There's so much legal that comes in. And I remember I sat there and I started posting all the payments, and I just thought, well, I don't really know what to do about that one. I don't really know what to do about that one either. And there were some rules and there was some math I had to do. And I was like, what the heck, So I literally got a hold of one of my very, very good friends who was one of my senior most people on my team and said, Tammy, will you please help me go through these? And she sat with me for hours one night. We went into the office and just worked through those EOBs, and she just taught me so much. And that's when I realized not a lot of people have a call a lifeline like I did, right? Or even think that they should call a lifeline. They just kind of do what they think they're supposed to, which just by doing what you think you're supposed to and not finding out for sure is, I hate to say it this way, but I can quote Roy Shelburne in this. It's like blind regard, right? It's doing what you think you're supposed to and not really knowing is a little bit of blind regard. And I think at this point in our lives, we have to think, if I don't have a phone a friend, then I got to have a phone a resource. I got to have something. If you just don't really know for sure, then this is a place that you can come to find out, and you can reach out to us. I think it's really important to reach out to us. You can always reach out to me if you have questions, and you can reach me at Kane, and my name is Kane at iCoreConnect.com.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to say I have a group on Facebook called Brush Up on AI, and I'm all about teaching AI and helping bring the latest technology. But I also think that wherever you're listening to this, wherever you're watching this, write in the comments, write in the questions, because the questions that you have directly for Linda, other people have those questions, right? So the more we can come together in groups, in conversation, and helping each other out, the better it's going to be. And one of the things I just do want to put a shout out to the fact that one of the things in my practice when I was running it was that we had a lot of turnover in the insurance area. And I understand insurance, and I'm good, not as good as you, but I'm good. But I can't be there all the time, especially as I was starting to speak and go around the country. And with the turnover we had in insurance, I mean, that opens up a huge area of liability. Plus just, the employees are not as trained and focused as somebody who understands it inside and out. And so I ended up outsourcing my insurance. And I'm a huge advocate of that, whether you're using technology, whether you're using a company like yours that blends technology and people, or you're using whatever, Yes, because of the insurance part of it. But one of the things that I saw change in my practice was the culture change within my four walls of my team, because my team wasn't the one spending all the hours on the phone with the insurance company. My
Mm-hmm.
team wasn't the one having to do all the breakdowns and figure out the details. My team could focus on customer service, taking care of the patients in the office, being there to handle the phones and all of the stuff, which is what your team really should be focused on, because all patients know of how to judge us is the experience. And when we're so head down focused on the details of the insurance or other things, they can't pick their head up and take care of the patients. So I love that iCore Connect, and all of the people we're bringing on this podcast are all people that you and I love and respect, that know their stuff, so that your team can not worry about the details and actually focus on what they should be, which is the patient.
Exactly. And I would say send us your questions. We would love to have a part at the beginning of each podcast where we just directly answer your questions. So you can send those questions to TRCR. It's basically the Revenue Cycle Roundtable in abbreviations to make it easier. So TRCR at iCoreConnect.com. Just email us your questions. Here's a question for the next podcast, right? Just shoot us your questions. If you're unsure, you've got experts that are going to be here to help you to answer those questions for you. And that's what I'm excited about doing. I think there's something that's just changed over the years. And in a way, I kind of wish I could just go back and spend some time in an office just to see what it would be like, because it's so different. It's so different. The reality is, your practice, the smartest thing you could do, honestly, if you're a new practice owner or you're a doctor that's been in business forever, you've got a lot of PPO contracts, there's a lot going on, you're in a successful practice, outsource your insurance to an expert, because you just can't, in a lot of areas, you just don't have the means to be able to train the people to know the breadth of the things that they need to know. So if you can outsource your insurance, like Laura said, and then bring that back in-house so that your people in the office can do what they're supposed to do. I always say, when you go into a dental office at the beginning of your shift, right? You start your day in a dental office. There is not one single decision that you make from the moment you walk in that door. There is not one single decision you make that doesn't impact someone else. Literally everything that you do impacts someone else in some way or form. So I want you to just think about that, about how am I taking care of my team? How am I taking the best care of my team? And how am I protecting those people that are head down in all this insurance stuff and on all these insurance calls versus taking care of my patients? Because I promise you, if you have your people in the office focused on taking care of your patients and doing those patient forward services, you're going to bring so much goodness out of the underbelly of your practice. And you don't have to do 10 more crowns to make your production goals, right? You can just resurface that unscheduled treatment and get that recare program working healthy. Then you can have your insurance taken care of and have someone dedicated to doing it that has to measure KPIs to make sure that they're doing it correctly, right? And getting it done for you. So yeah, that would be my advice.
So when I said earlier that I looked up revenue cycle management, like I said, I'm not an insurance guru. I'm not a financial. I can be, but I'm definitely much more of a big picture type person. So when I ran the office, it was more of like, what fires need to be put out? How do I make this run better? But revenue cycle management starts from the very first impression a patient has on your practice, to the very first phone call, to the conversation that's happening with the patient, all the way through to, did we bill the insurance correctly? Did we treatment plan correctly? Did we bill the patient correctly? So when you hear the name of this podcast and you think revenue cycle, you think numbers, money, which we will talk a lot about that. But part of this conversation is to remember that it starts from that first impression that the patient has of your practice. What are people saying about you on the reviews? What are they expecting when they call your practice? Part of the reason that I started Front Office Rocks a long time ago, and I'm part of Mango Voice, is because I'm a huge advocate of the phones. Your phones need to be answered, and how your team handles those calls makes a difference for the rest. Well, first of all, it makes a difference to whether or not that patient's even coming into your practice, and then the rest of their relationship with you. So there are things like answering your phones, which every marketing company out there, they are still frustrated 15 years later because we spend money on marketing and then we don't answer our phones. Like, if you get nothing else out of this, answer your phones, outsource your insurance, your practice will grow. But now there's newer things like you're saying, Linda, like to free up our team. One of the things we have at Mango Voice, which is one of the reasons I even joined on with them, is our AI notes, which is, we tell our team members, when you have a conversation with a patient, put your notes in. But the reality is, dentist, if you've never worked at the front desk of a dental office, the reality is as soon as I hang up, there's probably another patient in front of me. I haven't gone to the bathroom. The hygienist wants to know if fluoride's covered, and putting in notes sounds good, but doesn't happen all the time. And if it does happen, it's very cryptic. And it's just my notes versus the way Linda writes it. The other thing is when we're on a call, many times we're so focused on writing the notes down, the insurance number, the phone number, the ID information, that we're so focused on the data collection, we're not focused on the patient. We're not focused on that experience. So our AI notes with Mango is a game changer, because I know when I hang up, if I inverted some piece of information as I'm writing it down, or if I have a patient standing in front of me, I can hang up and that information went into the patient chart. It is in there. So that relationship, starting at the first phone call, going forward, we know the conversation that happened. We know why the patient called in their chief complaint. We know how our team did on the phone. So there's so much of the way we've always done it. But now when you blend in outsourcing, technology, AI, like it's just going to get better and better all the time.
Yes, I love that you talked about that, because the reality is this is such a beautiful partnership between us. It really is, because we bring up so many of the things that are a hardship for the practice. Just like you mentioned, when you're on the phone, your intent is good. You really want to document everything, but you're being pulled 95 directions. You've got that financial consult coming and they're looking at you with these beautiful eyes, like, be happy, it's coming, and you're like, sure, I can do that, and try not to look like deer in headlights, like, again, and so you have such a good solution for that problem. It's such a smart thing. And I feel like also, one of the things that really challenges offices is the dang 2FA authentication. Ever since that cyber breach happened and Change Healthcare lost its shorts and all those things happened, right? This 2FA authentication is a challenge, and iCore's got that settled. It's such a cool thing to have this wonderful bit of technology that's available to you that can extract data right out of your system, send it out and have it verified, and then the human picks up the differences that the AI wasn't able to do. And yet, while all of that's happening behind the scenes, you're just answering great phone calls. You're having great new patient experiences. And it's just such a cool thing. So we're so excited to have you guys here. And please send us your questions to trcr@icoreconnect.com so that we can be prepared to answer those. Our next episode is going to be with Devon Banks, and I'm so excited to have her here with you. That woman is amazing, and she's going to teach us so many good things. And I'm just excited to be here with you, Laura, too. I think we're a good partnership.
I think this is great. I would love to have people involved in conversations and comments and stuff, because you and I are out there in the trenches learning the latest and greatest, and that's what we plan to bring here. So thank you for our first episode. We would love to subscribe, thumbs up, like, do the thing. I don't even know anymore. Do all that so you know when the next one comes out.
Yes, absolutely. And you're going to be able to find us everywhere that you can play a podcast. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be everywhere. So just subscribe to us. We would love to have you. So until next time, this has been an episode of the Revenue Cycle Roundtable, and we'll see you next time.